Tragically, the last remaining duck farm in Long Island, New York, has been ordered to kill all 100,000 ducks. Yes, you heard me correctly. Sadly, Crescent Duck Farm, who has been in business since 1908 and is about 66 miles west of New York City, has received this crushing news. Talk about exactly why they have to eliminate their ducks and how this disease has been able to spread so randomly and rapidly throughout the United States. But first, I think we need to give a nod to their family farm. One that has been in their family for 117 years. And during my research, one that you can really feel the passion for what they're doing on their farm. Crescent Duck Farm was started by Henry Corrin in 1908. At the time, Long Island, New York was a massive hub for raising market ducks, producing 2/3 of all duck meat that was consumed in the United States. Now operated by Doug Corrin and his sons, Blake and Pierce, they have outlasted all the other Long Island, New York duck farms by keeping true to their core values and trying to produce their own things to keep the cost down, like owning their own feed business and their own waste treatment facility. The Corrin family prided themselves on producing better tasting ducks that yielded a better meat to fat ratio and a larger breast muscle, the most desired part on any bird. In fact, their goal was to have at least a 1-inch breast muscle on each and every bird that left their facility and was processed. Today, Crescent Duck Farms produces 4% of all duck meat consumed in the United States. Unfortunately, that may all have come to a devastating end. After noticing signs of illness in their flock, the test results have come back. And on January 17th, according to the Suffolk County Health Department, it was positive for avian influenza. Sadly, since the death rate of birds with avian influenza is nearly 100%, the government gives farms that find themselves in this position, like Crescent Duck Farms, no choice but to quickly and humanely euthanize all the birds to try to prevent the virus from spreading. Although I could not even imagine the pain being in their shoes during these crushing circumstances, Crescent Duck Farm was at least allowed to keep eggs from their ducks. But I am sure they have many questions running through their head, and they do have a long road ahead of them that starts with a barn cleanout. During my research, it looks like they are trying to take all of the government's advice and follow all the government regulations so that they can hopefully reopen one day. But just how does avian influenza spread? Unfortunately, avian influenza is not new. In fact, the first known case was in Hong Kong in 1977. So we have a vast amount of knowledge on how this disease is spreading. And you may be wondering, how does avian influenza spread so rapidly and randomly throughout the country? And the answer is because it's in the wild bird population. Unfortunately, infected birds that come in contact with other birds are the leading contributors to the spread of avian influenza, as well as contact with their feces and contaminated surfaces. Do you remember when poultry at fairs and shows was shut down in the United States? Depending on where you lived, in 2015 and 2022, that was because of avian influenza. Unfortunately, through a different mutation in the H5N1 virus, it has now started crossing into different species. As of March 2024, we have reported cases in dairy cattle. This disease is also zoonotic, which means, although extremely rare, it can be transferred from an infected bird or dairy cattle into a human. I doubt we will ever be able to see the day without avian influenza. Luckily, there are different ways that we can prevent it. By using good biosecurity habits, we can try to prevent H5N1 from getting into our barns. We need to be making certain that we are, of course, keeping clean our feeders and waters and other poultry care items. But we are also keeping clean and sanitary anything that comes in and out of our barns, down to our clothing and even our wheelbarrows when we go to clean out our chicken coops.